Alright guys, what's going on? Welcome in. In this one, we're going to be grading all of the free agent acquisitions that the Jets have made so far. Is this the complete list? No, I'm sure the Jets are going to add a couple more depth pieces at some point in time, but with that said, let's jump right in. So the first acquisition that Joe Douglas went out and signed was guard from the 49ers, Tomlinson, signing him to a 3-year contract worth $41.2 million. 27 of that is guaranteed. I really like this move. I'm giving it a B+. Okay, he's coming in and will be playing right guard for the team. Now, there is a little bit of speculation about him, transitioning over to the right side. It's not completely foreign. Yes, it is a different position than left guard, right? His original position back in San Francisco. But I think the transition will not only just be nice, but I don't think Joe Douglas, out of all the general managers, Joe Douglas seems to be pretty, I guess frugal is the wrong word, but he seems to be pretty, he likes to hang on to his money, right? And he's not going to be spending it, he's not going to be wasting it if he doesn't feel 100% comfortable with those acquisitions. Okay, so Tomlinson, he's a familiar face. Okay, he's worked with Robert Saleh, he's worked with Mike LaFleur, he fits the system, he knows the system because these guys were in San Francisco. I'm looking at the interior of the offensive line. I love Elijah Vera Tucker. Connor McGovern, I'm okay with. I'm not completely sold. I'm not like totally pumped up about center moving forward, but I think he's good enough for now. Now there is some speculation, there is some buzz that the Jets might move on, but we'll see. I don't know. Only time will tell. But right guard, huge hole, right? It's a huge vacancy. Tomlinson comes in and is an immediate day one upgrade. I would go as far as to say Tomlinson, pound for pound, is probably the best offensive lineman on the team. He's 30 years old, he's 6'3", 315, and has not missed a game in the last 4 seasons. Okay, now, even though I love this signing, the reason why it's not an A for me, an A grade, is because you can make an argument that the Jets overpaid here. Okay, especially when we take a look at another guard, a right guard from the Chicago Bears, and James Daniels, a guy who a lot of Jets fans really wanted. He signed a 3-year contract worth $26 million with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay, so we got Tomlinson, again, huge upgrade, but when we compare those contracts, Tomlinson's is a lot bigger. Okay, so B+ for me. So the second acquisition that Joe Douglas went out and made was re-signing wide receiver Braxton Berrios to a 2-year contract worth $12 million. 7 of that is guaranteed. For me, I'm giving it an A+. I really don't have any sort of gripes or cons or negatives about bringing Berrios back at that price point. I mean, he knows the system, fits the system. Mike LaFleur was drawing up plays for Berrios late in the season in critical situations, right? Big third downs, the ball was going to Berrios. He has that chemistry with Zach Wilson. It seems like those guys are best friends. We're retaining, for once, I feel like we're retaining one of our homegrown guys, although the Jets didn't draft Berrios a couple years ago, right? He's been in the league for 3 years. You look at his numbers, catches, touchdowns, and yards have all gone up every single year, so he's an ascending player. And by the way, he helps out on special teams and is one of the best returners in the game of football. And another thing that I kind of want to throw in there as well, I mean, you look at that contract, it averages out to $6 million annually. If he were to hit the open market, the projected contract was anywhere from $7, $8 to $9 million annually, so the Jets got him at a cheaper price than what market value kind of said Berrios was at. And the rumored teams that had heavy interest in Berrios, the Patriots, Dolphins, and the Bills. Okay, so for me, I literally check every box here. I can't find a single negative. A+. Next up, the Jets re-signed running back Tevin Coleman to a 1-year contract. For me, I'm going to give it a C, right? It's not some horrible move. It's not going to be a detriment to the football team, but at the same time, it's not some great signing. It's not some incredible, awesome acquisition that this team made. It's just a depth move. Okay, so average. Right. I think, yes, Tevin Coleman, he's pretty much played his entire NFL career in a similar style of offense, even going back to Atlanta with Kyle Shanahan, and then San Francisco, New York Jets. He knows the offense. He has continuity with the offensive line, with the coaching staff, and with, the offensive playmakers and even the running back room. So from that aspect, it's awesome. But to be honest with you, I thought he was going to look a little bit better last season. I mean, he only had 356 rushing yards with no touchdowns, but Coleman at 28 years old can still hurt teams, both running the ball and catching the ball. The next acquisition that the Jets went out and made was bringing in Bengals tight end CJ Uzomah, signing him to a 3-year contract worth $24 million. I think for me, I'm going to give it a B, right? I mean, he's going to come in and do two things right off the bat really, really well. Number one, a true red zone threat. Being 6'6", 260 pounds, the Jets don't really have anybody on the roster that can compare to his size, right? We don't really have a go-to red zone option, a guy to throw a goal line fade to, a guy that you could just whip it in there, a guy who, might be double covered, but he can box people out. He's almost like a power forward in the red zone. I mean, this guy is going to be a weapon in that department. And number two, he's going to be Zach Wilson's security blanket. That's kind of what he was for Joe Burrow. A sure-handed tight end, might not be the most athletic in the world as far as, running after, running with the football in his hands, yards after catch, or blazing people. He's not like Kyle Pitts or anything like that. But when you need to come down with it's 3rd down and 6, you can go to CJ. He's probably going to be coming down with the football. I really, really like that. Also, he's a day one upgrade. Right now, he's better than every single tight end that the Jets currently have on their roster. So coming in and filling a huge position of need, you look at his 2021 stats, 49 receptions, 493 receiving yards with 5 touchdowns. At 29 years old, he's coming off the best season of his career, but there are a couple drawbacks, right? There are a couple things that we do have to talk about. Number one, he's coming off of an injury. The expectation is that he's going to be good to go, and there's not going to be any sort of hiccups or anything like that, and he's going to look like the same player, but we do have to throw that in there. Okay, he's coming off a pretty significant lower body injury. That's not anything we could just sweep under the rug and say, hey, no problem. It's like it's like nothing ever happened. And then number two, he's been he's been playing for a long, long time, since I believe 2015. He's only had 2 notable seasons, this past season in 2021 with the crazy passing attack, and in 2018 when he put up similar style of numbers. But looking at the contract, 3 years, $24 million, I don't think you could beat that. I gotta be honest, I thought CJ was going to be a Bengal next year. I mean, with all the cap space that they had, with how much it seems like all of the players, how much that organization likes CJ, I mean, even the fans too. It seems like everybody really, really likes Uzomah, and the Jets land him on $24 million over 3 years. Yeah, sign me up for that. But I will say this, I do feel like the Jets should maybe draft a tight end early. Not saying 1st round or 2nd round or anything like that, maybe unless a Trey McBride is there, but maybe Rucker. Right, Jeremy Rucker from Ohio State. I think that would be a great fit as a complementary piece to CJ. At the end of the day, CJ is 29 years old, and Rucker will be coming in, obviously, as a rookie with a high upside who can help out both in the passing game and also in the blocking game. So, just something to think about. But at the end of the day, it's a B for me. So fast forward to day 2 of free agency, and the Jets' first acquisition was bringing in cornerback from the Seattle Seahawks, DJ Reed, on a 3-year contract worth $33 million. I gotta be honest, this was my personal favorite move that the Jets made because I'm a big fan of Reed. I mean, watching him, throughout the course of last season, he was impressive. He really, really was impressive, especially on the outside. Looking at a guy who's 5'9", around that 190 to 200 pound mark, to see what he did on the outside was extremely, extremely impressive. I'm totally pumped that we landed DJ Reed. He's 25 years old. He knows the system. He fits the system. He's had experience working with Robert Saleh before, because the 49ers gave him a chance initially out of Kansas State. Man, and he's coming in and he's going to be a starting outside guy for the Jets defense. And with the second cornerback spot, it's going to be a competition. Well, this is what the supposed report is. It's going to be a competition between Brandon Echols and Bryce Hall as we stand right now. Of course, the Jets can go out and make another move, add another corner, or even draft another one. So we'll see how it all plays out. But DJ Reed is going to be playing. Joe Douglas is not going to be handing out $11 million a year to a guy that's going to be sitting on the bench. Not going to be happening. We take a look at his stats from this past season: 78 tackles, 2 interceptions, 10 passes defended against. He's fantastic in man coverage. Again, experience in the scheme, tons of production on the outside. I love this signing. I'm giving it an A. The only somewhat thing that you kind of squint your eyes at is the contract size, the $33 million over 3 years, again, averaging out to $11 million annually. I think to Some people that might be a little high, and that's completely understandable, but my take is that by the end of the year, $11 million isn't going to look high for what DJ Reed does in this defense, if that makes any sort of sense. So anyway, A for me. Next up, safety from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Jordan Whitehead. He's signing a 2-year contract worth $14.5 million. I mean, for me, I love this signing. I think I'm giving it an A to an A-, and the only reason why I would say A- is because I'm a big fan of 3-year contracts for younger players, and this is only a 2-year deal, but I mean, I'm kind of just grasping at anything here. I'm looking for something to not like. I mean, Jordan Whitehead, 24 years old, a hard-hitting safety, a guy that's going to be bringing a ton of energy on Sunday, right? He's going to rile up the guys, tons of production back in Tampa Bay. His old teammates love him, right? They're all tweeting at him, yo, congrats. This is a guy who I think is going to, I mean, number one, he's going to instantly come in and be the team's day one starting strong safety and be a huge upgrade over what we not only have now, but what we had last year. I love Jordan Whitehead. He still has so much room to get better. He's experienced tons of winning, right, being in Tampa Bay, received great coaching from Todd Bowles and Bruce Arians. I mean, and by the way, Bowles puts a lot of responsibility on his defensive back. So if you're a younger guy starting in that defense, you know, it says something about you. It says something about your work ethic and your defensive IQ, because you have to be able to handle a lot. And Whitehead did that, and he did it well. He wasn't a placeholder at the position. So I look at him and his fit in this system. Again, day one starting strong safety, a guy who could really come down in the box and make plays in the running game, and really do a good job of hitting guys, blowing plays up over the middle. Think slants, think crossers, think mesh routes, all that kind of stuff. And even mobile quarterbacks getting to the outside, pitch plays, swing plays, things that are, working sideline to sidelines, reverses, trick plays, all that kind of stuff. I think Whitehead will do a very, very good job in that category. For me, A to A-. So the next two I'm going to lump in the same category, and that's Dan Feeney, interior offensive lineman, and Nathan Shepard. I'm giving both signings a C- because they're just depth moves at the end of the day. But the reason why I'm putting it a little below average is the fact that I feel like we maybe could have done a little bit better, but at the end of the day, there's only so much money to go around. You can't, it's not realistic to, look at all of the team needs and say, okay, we're going to upgrade all across the board, every single position, even the backups, and we're going to completely replenish the entire roster from top to bottom, addressing all 53 guys. I think that is a little unrealistic, and so I don't really blame Joe Douglas in that area. But at the same time, when we look at Shepard and Feeney just as players, I think they're okay backups. If they're a consistent starter on the team, I would be a little worried. So C- for me. Next up, kicker Eddie Pinero, and he was actually tendered by the New York Jets. And when I look at what Pinero did for this Jets team last season, he actually brought consistency to the kicker position. And, for me personally, I have to go back literal years to find that from the kicker for the New York Jets. I have to go all the way back to Jason Myers. And Eddie Pinero came into this team midway through the season and did really, really well. He was perfect on field goals, 8 for 8, and then when we take a look at extra points, he was 90%, right? 9 out of 10. So I think that's good enough for me as we stand right now. So I'm giving it a B, B to a B+. I really don't see Eddie Pinero being a detriment, like the Achilles heel to this football team. If he brings over what he did last season, right, just that consistency with field goals, consistency with extra points, I'm fine with it. He doesn't need to be the best kicker in football, but if he could be consistent, I'm cool. Okay, so next up, I'm putting Mike White and Joe Flacco in the same category here. I'm giving it a B-, right? I feel like whenever you can add quarterbacks to the roster that know the system, that have continuity, that have chemistry with the current team, and that are okay, not necessarily content with being a backup, because everybody's a competitor at the end of the day, but guys that kind of know their role, know where they're at in their career, and they're not going to come in and try to rock the boat. It's not going to be a circus or anything like that. Like, think Tim Tebow with Mark Sanchez. No mess like that at all. We take a look at what Mike White and Joe Flacco did last season. Both guys have the capability of winning football games, especially Joe Flacco. I mean, he's a seasoned veteran, strong arm, can hang in the pocket, takes care of the football, can make good decisions, and run the offense effectively. So I think for me, it's a B- to a B. Are they the best backup quarterbacks in football? No. I mean, I look at what Miami did, bringing in Teddy Bridgewater on a cheap 1-year, $3.5 million deal. I mean, you can make an argument he is the best backup quarterback in in all of football, depending on how you feel about certain guys, like maybe a Jordan Love and stuff like that. But hey, at the end of the day, these guys know the system. They're cool with being a backup. They're cool helping Zach Wilson grow as the starting quarterback. And if something were to happen to Zach, I feel confident in both of these guys filling in. Next up, tight end from the Minnesota Vikings, Tyler Conklin. He signed a 3-year contract worth $21 million. For me, I'm honestly giving this an A- to an A. I love this signing. I love it. Okay, he's 6'3". He's coming off the best season of his career. I think he comes in and fits the system, and he could really do a lot of damage over the middle of the field. I felt like last season when we tried to get the tight ends involved, it was like in the red zone, towards the sidelines on the boundary. It wasn't really that guy that could put a move on a defender in the middle of the field, catch a pass for like 3 yards, and then take it another 8, take it another 9. And I feel like Conklin kind of provides that. He's aggressive. It seems like he's really eager to come into this locker room and really start making some noise with CJ Uzomah and really helping out Zach Wilson, being a security blanket. I really think Conklin has more of an upside than a CJ Uzomah. I think CJ is more of the safe guy, the high floor guy, where Conklin is going to be coming in with a huge catch radius. He can hurt you down the field, but I'm more concerned with getting Tyler the football quickly and often and letting him work to try to get that extra 5, 6, 7 yards with the football in his hands. He doesn't seem like he's going to be falling off anytime soon. He had 61 catches last season for just under 600 receiving yards. To me, it's a low risk, high reward style of move. 3 years, $21 million for a team with a ton of cap space is fine with me. And of course, he's coming in at a major position of need. For me, it's an A- to an A. Next up, Texans pass rusher Jacob Martin. He came in and signed a 3-year contract worth up to $16.5 million. I think for me, I'm going to give it a C+. He comes in, he fits the system. He provides a high upside. He comes in at a huge position of need at edge. But I think for me, because Jacob Martin is going to be that rotational pass rusher, he is not like, I feel like he was signed to not be the starting guy, right? As we all know, Carl Lawson's coming back. We still have the NFL draft and whatnot, maybe a potential trade. We don't know exactly what's going on with edge. I feel like it's not a complete position. So to hand out $16.5 million for a guy that's going to be a rotational pass rusher, I think that's a lot of money. I understand that the Jets are a bottom 5 team in football, and we're going to have to overpay for certain guys to bring them to New York. I get that, but again, $16.5 million for a guy that's not going to be a starter is a little high for me as a rotational pass rusher. Now look, we need depth. Okay, that's why we don't know what's happening with Carl Lawson. Is he even going to look like the same player? Will he get hurt again? What's happening with the other side? There's a lot of question marks here. So I understand it from that aspect, right? If you want to look at it through that lens, where it's like, hey, we don't know what's happening with pass rusher. We're thin here. We don't have that much talent. Let's get guys in the building that do fit the system, and we feel good about moving forward. Then I feel better about it. But if he's just being brought in to come in on, in different situations, the occasional third down and whatnot, then it's a little high for me. But at the end of the day, it's still an above average signing in my book. So those are the free agency grades that the Jets have made so far. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. I cannot wait to see, where you guys stand on some of these different prospects. And on top of that, I would love to hear your grades as well. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. And quick little thing I want to throw in there as well. Is it a possibility? Is it realistic that the Jets can go out and add maybe 1, 2, 3 more players? I do think it's realistic, and if that's the case, or if something happens, as I'm filming, I'll leave it linked down below in the comment section. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. Can't wait to see where you guys stand on this, and as always, go Jets.